Hello again, this is Christina with your Maui, California update on geoengineering, HARP radiation, and all of this, as you know, is tied into our health. So as you can see right now, I'm just going to run the video. Today, I will have to tell you I was really fatigued. It hit me really hard this evening, so I actually have a second screen recording of another hit of the HARP microwaving frequencies that hit California coast, and it also hit us on the islands, but it's hard to see it because by the time the radar recorded it, it was on the black screen and you had to look for just the lines. And I did find evidence of that, and I will put this in this video. At sometime in the middle of the day or at some point in the day, you just get really fatigued and you feel like you need to take a nap. That's when you're pretty much getting microwaved. And then you get really dehydrated. I mean, I must have drank 3 or 4 coconut waters and 2 Gatorades, and you still can't find the hydration in your body. As you know, anytime you put something in the microwave, it dehydrates it. Anytime you see these lines that are horizontal and it looks kind of like a woven piece of fabric, that is when they're hitting with the radiation. So I couldn't find evidence directly of the actual rings that we see, the HARP rings, when they sit on top of us with the high frequency radiation that go from what I understand, and I might be wrong on this, so please correct me if I'm wrong, they have the radiation farms, which are a whole bunch of these satellites. They send up signal to the satellites that are around the Earth, and they send back down the radiation, which then hits the clouds, but not the real clouds, the chemically enhanced clouds, and then it creates this pattern in the heavy metals of the clouds themselves. I mean, it definitely sounds like some crazy sci-fi. I can see where people would think there's no way this is happening. But there's a lot of people who are familiar with geoengineering and EMF radiation that are more educated than me and certainly more knowledgeable. So I'm just coming to you as just kind of like an average person to show you what I'm seeing. But I encourage you, if you're even a little bit interested or defensive, either way, search Dane Wigington with GeoEngineeringWatch.org. I like him. He was the one that did What on the World Are They Spraying? Great movie. Then there's also Jim Lee. You can find him on Facebook. He is also very powerful and an advocate. And I understand Jim Lee is dealing with a thyroid situation. And what does that tell you? Your thyroid can be compromised due to environmental toxins, and that's what's happening. And then there's many more. Stacey Sills, she also does these videos, and she does them on Facebook. But she, like me, we can only do them when we feel good, because when you feel tired and sick, you're not all excited to sit in front of your computer and make a video. So we do the best we can. We do have so much more toxins hitting our body than we ever had before, and it's coming in the food we eat, the water we drink, the air we're breathing. Here's the video that actually correlates with the radars, showing you what happens to the actual clouds when they do the radiation.
Okay, this is sad. Do you see all that? That is heavy trails. That is the aerosol enhanced, chemically enhanced clouds. But do you see the weird ripples? You think those ripples are from the wind, but there's absolutely no wind right now. And if it was the wind doesn't go that direction. But those ripples right there are from when the electric magnetic radiation hits the heavy metals in the clouds. Now look at that. If it was true that this was based on a wind direction or pattern, then it would all be going the same way. But it's not. So pay attention to this. We do know that there is geoengineering. It's existed for a while. And unfortunately, there's evidence of it right here in Maui.
Many times when I can't see the actual evidence of the microwave energy used over the islands of Hawaii, what I will do is I'll move over to the California coastline. I'll run the same radar satellite feed, and I have to slow it down because you will not see the evidence unless you go frame by frame. So right now I'm just going to run it, and then in a moment here you'll see it really quickly, and then I'll try to slow it down and freeze it. So when it darkens out like this, it's harder to see the evidence of the radiation, but it's going to be coming up in a second. There it is, and then it just went out. and it only comes up for 1 frame, sometimes 2. And that was the first evidence today, but then I caught it again later on this evening. So they hit us, I think, twice today with the microwave frequency radiation, and so you might have felt a little tired 2 times. You can see how heavy those red horizontal fabric lines are. And I'm going to zoom in so you can really get an idea of what it does to the chemically enhanced cloud. But you can see a lot of that right there, all on the whole, all of California. I mean, it's bad in Hawaii, but not nearly as bad as what California is dealing with. And I'm so sorry if you live there, but you really can't get away from this. So we can see all the trails right there, huge amount of chemtrails, and there it is again. You saw the HARP frequency, and then watch what happens. You start to see the trails come they get a little more textured after the hit of that radiation, and then you'll start to see in the red the little horizontal fabric looking lines right there. You see the horizontal lines, and then just off the coastline you can kind of see them. You really have to pay attention and look for this. I mean, you have to zoom in. So maybe it's because I have an artist eye that I can really see evidence of this. So let's run it one more time so you can take a look at this. Now the same thing that affects California also affects Hawaii. We're not that far away. And then you see all these lines, all these evidence of microwave radiation hitting California. So let me zoom now and bring up the next video, which is what happened later on in the late afternoon and evening. I'll go to California first because it's easier to get evidence of the microwave radiation on the California feed than it is in the Hawaii feed. So when I felt fatigued again about 4 or 5 o'clock, I thought, let me run the satellite again. And so I went ahead and ran it, and you can see right there, there's already that weird waffle shape in the clouds, so I knew something had happened. So I slowed it down as much as I could to make sure I could pay attention, because you have to slow it down frame by frame to see this. So you'll see right here, it's coming up. I went ahead and paused this image right there. That right there is the HARP radiation. Maybe we don't need to call it HARP. All we know is it's microwaving the atmosphere. So something else happened that was very interesting. So I want you to pay attention to this next shot. And I have never seen something like this before. I don't know if it was a bigger area, but watch right here. Look at all those lines. I don't know if they hit a larger area with the microwave radiation, but I found that was very interesting. And so then I will, in a second, switch over back to the Hawaii feed, because I wanted to see if I could find it over our islands. And I could, but it just took some real observant eyes to see it. So if you'll pay attention to here, you're going to see a 90-degree angle, kind of the middle coast of California, and that right there is anomaly too. What I understand from listening to Pacific Redwood 1 on YouTube, and if you're interested in this, he's somebody awesome to listen to. When you see these weird cuts in the clouds formation, and it's like almost a right angle and it's got straight lines, that is when they're using the, I don't know how he says it, they heat up the clouds and they create a high pressure and or a low pressure to prevent the rain from coming into California. So it's very much manipulated, and they've learned to do this, but only by chemically enhancing the sky with the heavy metals. This could not happen if they hadn't sprayed every single day over the entire planet to make this happen. You can't escape this. I mean, people think, oh, I'm going to move here or move there. Unfortunately, if I paid attention to the rest of the maps they have, which is the entire globe, it's happening everywhere. But I just concentrate on the Pacific coast, and I concentrate on Hawaii, and that's it. That's enough for me. So it was a little bit harder for me to find the same lines in the Hawaii feed, but you'll see my mouse, it'll kind of point them out, and you've got to really look for them. It's harder to see these when you have the black version of the satellite feed. So you can see them a little bit, much more difficult, but it was definitely around the same time as what I saw on the feed from California. So I knew that once again we got hit with radiation. And I estimated the time, well, the time they had listed, which is some Zulu time, which is kind of weird. It was about 6, anywhere from 5 to 6 is when they hit us with a larger dose of radiation. And I could almost feel it, because I remember my head was ringing, and I remember just how dehydrated and thirsty I was, even though I had been drinking lots of coconut water and Gatorade all day. You know, it just, you can only do so much when your body is being literally microwaved from the sky down. You can look this up on your own if you want to see it. There's lots of evidence out there, so you can get lots of information about this. And aloha from Hawaii. Okay, have a good night.
Make it ala o kali